Ah, fuck, I need some ammo! I'm in the fucking shit here, need backup!
I'm gonna make you bleed!
What it is, YouTube, my name is Batman, and I promise you I would not make a comprehensive guide to ranking up as fast as humanly possible and maximizing your squad points in Call of Duty Ghosts if I thought I didn't have something to say that hadn't already been said. So obviously the first question is, should you be playing Search and Rescue or Cranked? Now from the videos I've seen, people are generally concluding that Search and Rescue is the way to go. But I would argue that Cranked is in fact the better option. And if you will hear a humble warrior out, please allow me to explain. Now I'm going to argue that from a long-term view and taking several other variables and their rates of consistency into account, Cranked can provide larger experience pulls. However, at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not Search and Rescue does provide more experience, Cranked is the best game mode for boosting your squad points and unlocking things faster. Now, if you want to rank up faster just for the sake of prestiging or being a higher level than your friend who's your friend because you both play COD but he's really just a piece of shit that you want to destroy but you still hang out on the weekends and stuff, then play Search and Rescue. But for myself, and I would imagine for the vast majority of us, we want to rank up faster with the goal of unlocking stuff. We want squad points. And obviously the best way to get squad points faster is to rank up faster. You get 2 squad points per level up. But you also get 1 squad point for every field order you complete and a squad point for every operation you complete. If you're not sure what an operation is, look for it on the main menu. It's neat little challenges you can complete for experience bonuses and squad points. So with that in mind, if your goal is to boost squad points and unlock stuff faster, then Cranked clearly is a better option than Search and Rescue, because realistically, you're not going to be able to regularly complete field orders or operations in Search and Rescue. It's just impractical, because the operations generally involve some kind of grind, completing a specific task multiple times. The one I was working on today is killing an enemy with my primary, and then in the same life, killing an enemy with my secondary. 10 separate times. Now granted, that's not impossible to do in Search and Rescue, but statistically speaking, it's going to take a lot longer, be much more difficult than it would be in Cranked. And that just comes down to the numbers. You have a significant and exponentially greater amount of opportunity in Cranked because both you and your enemies are respawning. You get more chances to make an attempt and more targets more often to make that attempt on. And then of course there's field orders. Now, to be fair, they usually require you to just get 1 kill in a certain kind of way, so they're much more doable than operations in Search and Rescue, but it's still going to be a much more infrequent occurrence than in Cranked because, again, it comes down to the numbers. In Cranked, at any given time, you have 6 bad guys on the map, and each of those is an opportunity to complete your field order. In Search and Rescue, your opportunities to complete the field order begin to dwindle immediately. Every pair of tags your team picks up is severely decreasing your chances of completing that field order, and that's assuming you even get the field order. If any of the other 11 players in the match get it first and survive longer than you do, you won't even get a shot. Or maybe you do get it, but by then there's only 1 bad guy left on the other team. And even if you do get it, do you really want to be trying to get these special kinds of kills in a game mode where if you fuck up, you don't get to respawn? So, statistically speaking, the difference between Cranked and Search and Rescue is night and day when it comes to squad points. There's no getting around that. But I also think that Cranked can be the faster way to rank up, period. For starters, even though saying Search and Rescue is the fastest way, agree that the difference in XP per match isn't huge. In my experience, that difference is about 1,000 or 2,000 experience in a game. I had a really good Cranked match that got me 7,000 experience and a really good Search and Rescue match that got me about 8.5k experience. So in a given instance, I agree, Search and Rescue's high point is going to be higher than Cranked's high point. However, because leveling up is about the grind, repeating the process over and over, consistency matters more than anything, and in the long run I would argue that Cranked is going to net you much more consistent results than Search and Rescue, because Search and Rescue is a very hit or miss game type, all or nothing, and that's because of how the respawning works. Once your tags are collected, you're done, no more collecting experience. So if you play a bad match of S&R, if you go negative, you're not going to walk away with much experience, because going negative means missing out on the majority of the opportunity you had to acquire experience points. And Keep in mind, mathematically speaking, at least 6 out of 12 players in every match have to go negative, because for every kill, there must be a death. It's the most basic rule of Call of Duty. Whenever someone goes positive, someone else must go negative, and because respawning is not a given, and indeed is infrequent in search and rescue, the deaths will be pretty evenly spread out among those on the wrong side of the gun barrel, so to speak. Whereas if you go negative in a game of Cranked, you still get to respawn, you still got kills, there's a good chance you still got a Cranked streak in there as well. You're still racking up XP, especially if you're using those support streaks like I'm going to say you should. So if you take the long view, and keeping in mind that Cranked isn't that far behind in the amount of XP per match, and accounting for bad games that will inevitably plague even the best of players, what Cranked lacks in a single match, it makes up for with consistency through thick and thin over a long period of time, and that's what matters. But regardless, even if you think I'm full of shit on this point, there's no denying, and it is not a controversial claim, that Cranked is the better way to go for the sake of maximizing squad points and unlocking everything faster. So, without further ado, I present to you the fastest comprehensive way to rank up fast in Call of Duty Ghosts. You play Cranked, and I highly recommend running the SATCOM Ballistic Vest Ammo Box Support Class Point Streak setup. The SATCOM is useless, it's just so you can get back to the other streaks faster, but the Ammo Box and the Ballistic Vest are going to rack up nice amounts of points that really add up in the long run. It's 50 points every time someone gets a gun or replenishes their ammo from your ammo box, and 50 points every time somebody takes a vest. Always put these two things down right next to each other, and that means waiting till you have the ballistic vest before deploying the ammo box. When they're right next to each other, anyone who takes the time to pick up one will always take the time to pick up the other. The positioning is key, and sometimes it's kind of tricky in Cranked because the spawns are always moving, but some good advice is to wait until you respawn and then put it down somewhere close by where you respawn, because if you just spawn, that means for at least a little while longer, that is the general area and or side of the map that your team will be spawning on as well. Now make sure you put these things in a safe area, but not somewhere that is too far out of the way. You don't want it to be a detour, you want it to be on the way to the fighting, but still somewhere safe. That also is very important. For maximum effect, party up with some friends, ask them to grab your shit every time you put it down, and offer to do the same for them if they'd like. You could find some people on Huppet for that shit, or just shout it out into your mic at the randoms. If you're polite about it, I bet they'll play along. And then of course you go for field orders and continually complete operations. And if you stay true to the grind, you will be going places in no time. I hope this guide was of some use to all of you, and if so, please remember to hit that thumbs up button, and may the Force guide you in your quest to prestige. This is Batman, signing out.